Applying Jamberry nail wraps is really simple and really easy, but there are a few little things that you might need to remember. So first of all, prep is key. In my opinion, it's almost more important to prep your nail right than it is to actually put your nail wrap on. I'm going to tilt you down a little bit so I can walk you through the process. Okay, so first, you're going to put some cuticle remover around your cuticle and then let it sit for a minute. After you let it sit for a minute, you're just going to push it back, get all the cuticle off. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is that they have 2 layers of cuticle. The top layer right here is what is surrounding your nail, and then the other layer grows with your nail. So you have to be very careful to get both layers off. Okay, so the remover helps immensely. Okay, so I'm just going to wipe that off with a paper towel. Once you get that, make sure your cuticles are pushed back and all that extra remover is off. I'm going to dry it out just a little bit because my nails are nice and healthy. And I'm going to dry it out just a tiny bit with an alcohol swab. That also helps me remove all the excess cuticle that has come off with my remover. Once I do that, I'm going to pick my wraps. I've got them ready to go right here. And there are a couple ways you can do this. In the end, you're going to have half on one finger and half on the matching finger on the other hand. The way I do it is I cut it in half, and then I get under it with an orange stick right here. And just make sure it sticks to it. Roll that orange stick right under it and then peel it up. And the way I did it is I took the flat end by the orange stick so that I can put this end on my cuticle. Okay, so match it up with your cuticle and just lay it on there. It doesn't have to be perfect, just as long as it's on your nail and you're not touching it. Now here's the part where I kind of stray a little bit from the official method. I'm going to take the edge where it's not going to touch my nail, and I'm just going to readjust it to where I know I can see the corners there, and the sides are going to match where I want it to line. I want it to line up with my nail. So I want it to be centered on my nail and ready to go. Okay, now here's where my mini heater comes in. This thing is amazing. If you don't have one of these, you can always use a hairdryer, but hold on to your wrap because the hairdryer will blow it across the room if you're not careful. And on days like this, it's super important because when you want to watch the game and you want to listen to everything, the hairdryer doesn't help. So I've got the heater running. You can barely hear it. Nobody's going to know. You heat it up a little and you grab your rubber cuticle pusher. Once it's heated, 2-3 seconds max. You run your rubber cuticle pusher down the center of your nail toward the tip, from the cuticle to the tip. Okay, that's it. Heat it again on one side, 2 to 3 seconds, and do the same thing on this side. Cuticle outward toward the tip. You're applying pressure and you're rubbing down from the cuticle toward the tip in a diagonal kind of a manner on the one side. Then you heat the other side again, 2 to 3 seconds, and do the same thing, going outward toward the tip on the other side. Straighten it all out. I've never had anybody have any problems with this method. Once it's all down, I like to heat it again for another 2 to 3 seconds, you guessed it, and then I just make sure it's on there nice and securely. Okay, once it's on there, you're using a little bit of pressure. Now, Jamberry is different from the nail stickers that you see running around everywhere because these are heat activated. This isn't just glue that you're putting on your fingers. You're actually bonding them to your fingers using this adhesive and heat and pressure. It's more like a car wrap. So once you have that on nice and smoothly, what you're going to do, I like to clip it so that it's closer to the edge of my nail. And then once that's clipped, use my nail file and go in a 90-degree angle down with my nail file so that you're taking the edge off. It's almost like erasing something from a chalkboard. Straight up and down. And let's see if I can show you. I don't know if my camera is going to work that well. But you can see a little bit of the edge coming off, and you're just doing that by rubbing straight down. Never go up and down, just use only downward motion. Okay, and then once you do that through across the whole tip, what I like to do is use my glass file. The glass file comes in the deluxe toolkit, and it's got a more fine grit to it, so it gives you a much smoother finish. And I just go at a little bit inward, maybe a 45-degree inward. So I'm taking just a little bit of that tip off on top of my nail. And what that does is it shows a tiny bit of your tip. I mean, really a tiny bit where you can't even really see, but it's nice and smooth. The way to check that is to rub it across your shoulder. If it snags at all, you need to be filing just a little bit more and smoothing it down just a little bit more. Once it's nice and smooth, you're good to go.